Some machines are born from a time when rules, limits, and logic seem to bend beneath the pursuit of performance. They sound like pure adrenaline. They move like precision sculpted in metal and oil. And they leave behind a myth that no amount of technology can replicate. The early 90s marked a final crescendo for mechanical artistry before electronics began to take over. It was the era when engineers, not algorithms, defined character. When the road and the racetrack shared DNA. And when perfection was measured not by emissions, but by emotion. In that fading moment between analog mastery and digital control, one creation stood out as the ultimate expression of two-stroke performance. A machine so focused it became a legend long after its production ended. Today, we revisit that masterpiece, decode what made it unique, and uncover why its brief time on Earth still resonates more than 30 years later. If you enjoy stories of engineering brilliance and the machines that redefine speed, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment which icon you want to see next. The Honda NSR250R 1992 was more than a motorcycle. It was a distillation of Honda's racing dominance poured into a street-legal form that few believed could exist. To understand its impact, we need to rewind to Japan's golden age of two-strokes, when strict licensing limits and fierce competition among manufacturers created a new genre of small-displacement sport bikes. Riders under 21 or without a full license were capped at 250 cubic centimeters. But that restriction only motivated engineers to make those 250s as close to racing machines as possible. The result was an arms race of lightweight frames, high-revving engines, and technology borrowed directly from the racetrack. In 1992, the NSR250R reached its ultimate evolution, blending Honda's precision engineering with decades of GP experience into a bike that felt alive in the rider's hands. Every line of the NSR250R 1992 was shaped by purpose. The aluminum twin-spar frame, developed from Honda's NSR 500 GP bike, provided unmatched rigidity and response for its time. The iconic banana swing arm, curved to accommodate the exhaust pipes, wasn't just for looks. It optimized cornering clearance while maintaining chassis balance. Beneath the fairing lay a 249 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled V-twin two-stroke engine, a compact powerhouse tuned with Honda's PGM3 electronic control system. This technology managed ignition timing and exhaust valve positions separately for each cylinder, delivering seamless power delivery across the rev range. What made it so extraordinary wasn't raw horsepower. It was the way that power arrived, urgent and razor-sharp yet precisely controlled. At around 45 horsepower, the NSR250R 1992 didn't sound menacing on paper. But its true genius was in the numbers you couldn't see. Weighing under 300 pounds wet, it achieved a power-to-weight ratio that rivaled much larger four-strokes. The throttle response was instant, and with a red line screaming past 12,000 revolutions per minute, it rewarded riders who understood momentum, rhythm, and precision. There was no electronic traction control, no ABS, no safety net. The only interface was the rider's right wrist and skill. That purity created a visceral bond between machine and rider, one that few modern bikes can replicate. Honda built the NSR250R 1992 with an obsessive attention to detail. The suspension, a Showa setup front and rear, was fully adjustable and tuned for razor-sharp handling. The brakes, dual discs up front and a single in the rear, offered track-grade stopping power. Even the instrument cluster spoke to its race-inspired nature. Clean, functional, and focused entirely on performance metrics. Every control, from the short-throw gear lever to the featherlight clutch, communicated a sense of mechanical intimacy. Nothing was wasted, and everything worked toward one goal: precision. The Japanese domestic market, where the NSR250R 1992 was sold, treated 250 cubic centimeters sport bikes like fine instruments rather than entry-level machines. They were designed for narrow, twisty mountain roads and short straights, where corner speed and agility mattered more than brute force. The NSR250R dominated that environment, offering riders a taste of GP performance within legal boundaries. It was aspirational yet attainable, complex yet intuitive. Each time the touch needle swept past 8,000 revolutions per minute, the bike transformed from docile commuter to screaming thoroughbred, demanding total focus and rewarding every ounce of commitment. What made the NSR250R 1992 stand apart wasn't only how it performed, but how it felt. The engine's two-stroke rhythm delivered a symphony of sound and vibration that defined its identity. The expansion chambers resonated with a distinctive crackle, and the engine's rapid-fire delivery demanded perfect throttle and clutch coordination. It wasn't forgiving, but that was the point. Mastering the NSR250R required learning its language, anticipating power band surges, managing corner exits, and staying light on the controls. For skilled riders, that challenge became an addiction. The broader context of the NSR250R 1992's arrival is equally fascinating. Japan's 1980s and early 1990s motorcycle boom created a unique ecosystem where technology advanced almost yearly. Manufacturers were in constant competition to outdo one another with innovations that pushed the limits of what a 250 cubic centimeters bike could achieve. Honda, with its reputation for engineering rigor, treated the NSR series as a showcase of capability. The 1992 model, coded MC21, was the culmination of that philosophy, a machine honed not through radical reinvention, but through relentless refinement. Inside Honda's development cycle, the NSR250R 1992 represented a balance between sophistication and accessibility. Engineers experimented with power valve timing, exhaust geometry, and fuel delivery to create an engine that could behave on city streets yet unleash fury on the track. The chassis tuning emphasized mid-corner stability and flickable transitions, enabling riders to carve through corners with confidence. For many enthusiasts, it was the first motorcycle that truly felt like a GP bike for the road. The market reception was immediate and enthusiastic. Riders praised the NSR250R 1992 for its razor-sharp feedback and telepathic handling. Reviewers described it as a bike that anticipated inputs rather than reacted to them. In the right hands, it outpaced larger bikes on technical roads thanks to its lightness and corner speed. Even at idle, it had a presence, a sound and stance that hinted at its racing bloodline. Collectors today still consider it a peak in the evolution of two-stroke sport bikes, not just for its performance, but for its engineering purity. Behind that brilliance, however, was the shadow of its own fragility. Two-stroke engines required meticulous maintenance, precise fueling, and regular rebuilds. The same precision that made the NSR250R 1992 a joy to ride also made it temperamental. Mistimed oil mixtures, worn power valves, or neglected service intervals could quickly rob it of performance. Owners learned that to keep it singing at its peak, care and discipline were non-negotiable. This wasn't a casual commuter's motorcycle. It was a performance instrument demanding respect. Yet, those challenges only deepened its allure. The NSR250R 1992 wasn't for everyone. It filtered out casual riders and rewarded dedication. Every successful ride was an accomplishment, every corner a conversation between rider and machine. That relationship created legends. Many who rode the NSR250R in its prime describe it not as transportation, but as an experience that shaped how they understood motorcycles. In hindsight, the 1992 NSR250R captured a turning point in motorcycle evolution. It represented the last era when a manufacturer could focus purely on performance without the weight of emissions regulations or electronic oversight. It was built for enthusiasts who wanted mastery through skill, not software. It was unapologetically analog in an increasingly digital world. The combination of compact size, advanced engineering, and visceral engagement made it unforgettable. Today, the NSR250R 1992 stands as a symbol of what happens when engineering freedom meets passion. It remains a benchmark for balance, responsiveness, and design elegance. From its sculpted fairing to the way its frame shimmered under sunlight, it radiated purpose. In Japan, these bikes became cultural icons, featured in magazines, racing series, and even pop culture. They symbolized youth, ambition, and precision. The story of the NSR250R 1992 is not just about horsepower or lap times. It's about philosophy. The Honda NSR250R 1992 entered its era as a masterpiece of refinement. But what truly set it apart was its internal architecture and how it redefined control. Underneath the bodywork, its V-twin engine embodied the pinnacle of two-stroke tuning. With a bore and stroke of 54 by 54.5 mm, it was a near-square design meant to balance torque and rev-happy aggression. Each cylinder had its own exhaust valve controlled by Honda's PGM3 system, which adjusted timing electronically to maintain smooth power transitions. This was advanced technology for the early 90s. No other production motorcycle offered that level of digital precision on such a small displacement. The NSR250 are 1992's carburetors. Two large keyhins fed the engine through reed valves that responded instantly to throttle input. Riders could feel every millimeter of twist reflected in acceleration. The exhaust chambers, tuned specifically for mid-range punch and top-end rush, gave the bike its signature explosive surge past 8,000 revolutions per minute. This was the moment every NSR rider lived for, when the calm hum turned into a screaming charge toward redline. The sensation was both intimidating and addictive. It was the essence of two-stroke character condensed into perfection. Honda's chassis design team understood that harnessing this performance required more than power. The NSR250, our 1992's twin-spar aluminum frame, offered a perfect combination of rigidity and flex, allowing the bike to maintain traction even under extreme lean angles. The geometry was tuned to create lightning-fast turn-in without sacrificing mid-corner stability. This made the NSR feel agile yet planted, a rare balance that only the most advanced sport bikes achieved. The banana-shaped swing arm, often mistaken as aesthetic flair, was a direct result of functional necessity. It curved to clear the underseat exhaust pipes while keeping wheelbase tight. It was engineering elegance in visible form. Riders who owned the NSR250, our 1992, often describe it as telepathic. Every input, from braking pressure to body position, seemed amplified through its structure. The Showa suspension, fully adjustable, allowed for fine-tuning suited to track or street. Honda even designed specific tire compounds and profiles to complement the chassis, ensuring every element worked in harmony. It was not merely a motorcycle. It was a carefully orchestrated symphony of physics and intent. At its heart, the NSR250, our 1992, was built for the Japanese domestic market's gentleman's agreement of 45 horsepower. But the hardware hinted at much greater potential. Tuners discovered that with minor modifications, reprogrammed ignition, adjusted jetting, or unrestricted exhaust valves, the NSR could easily surpass factory limits. On closed circuits, it reached speeds that embarrassed larger four-strokes. Honda never publicized these capabilities, but enthusiasts knew what the bike was truly capable of. That hidden depth became part of its legend. Mechanically, the NSR250, our 1992, reflected Honda's obsession with material science. The engine cases were cast for lightness, the crankshaft balanced for minimal vibration, and even the coolant routing optimized to prevent hot spots during sustained high revs. Engineers treated airflow, combustion, and lubrication as art forms. The result was an engine that could deliver sustained performance without losing composure. Every component spoke of endurance born from racing heritage. The NSR250, our 1992, also represented a shift in how electronic control entered motorcycle design. Before traction control and ride-by-wire became common, the PGM3 system was a pioneer. It measured throttle position, engine speed, and gear selection to dynamically alter ignition curves. This level of computation made the engine behave predictably across varying conditions. For riders transitioning from older two-strokes, it felt like magic. Smoother, sharper, and less punishing. Yet it preserved the raw thrill that defined its genre. Visually, the NSR250, our 1992, stood apart from anything else on the street. Its sleek fairing wrapped tightly around the frame, minimizing drag while maintaining cooling efficiency. The twin round headlights, slim tail, and distinct racing livery gave it an unmistakable silhouette. Every design line served function first, but Honda's craftsmanship turned that functionality into beauty. When parked, it looked like motion frozen mid-action. When moving, it blurred the boundary between road and racetrack. In performance testing, the NSR250, our 1992, routinely astonished reviewers. Its acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 4 seconds, combined with unmatched agility, placed it in a league of its own. What impressed experts most wasn't the speed, it was how composed the bike felt doing it. The brakes delivered consistent stopping power without fade, even under repeated heavy use. Combined with its precise handling, the NSR became a benchmark for cornering confidence. Riders could brake deep, flick through turns, and exit with flawless stability. This harmony came at a cost. The NSR250R 1992 demanded perfection from its rider. Throttle control had to be exact. Mistakes in timing or rev matching were unforgiving. Two-stroke engines lacked the wide torque curve of four-strokes, so maintaining power meant constant engagement with the gearbox. Every downshift, every throttle blip required skill. It was a machine that punished hesitation but rewarded mastery. For enthusiasts, that intensity was its greatest allure. Honda never built the NSR250R 1992 for mass appeal. It was an engineering showcase, a statement that precision mattered more than practicality. Production numbers remained modest, and most units stayed within Japan, making it a rare find abroad. Those who managed to import one discovered a level of craftsmanship unseen in typical sport bikes. Even the smallest fastener, the routing of cables, the finish of the swing arm, all spoke to obsessive attention to detail. The technology embedded in the NSR250R 1992 echoed lessons from the company's racing program. Honda's dominance in the 250 cubic centimeters Grand Prix class influenced every decision, from combustion chamber design to weight distribution. Engineers applied knowledge from the NSR 500 GP racer, scaling it to road-legal proportions. This transfer of technology made the 1992 model feel like a privateer GP bike you could own, if only you were willing to care for it with the same diligence as a race machine. At the same time, the NSR250R 1992 illustrated the growing tension between performance and regulation. Two-stroke engines, despite their incredible power-to-weight advantage, were becoming targets of tightening emissions laws. While Japan allowed their continued production through the early 90s, the writing was on the wall. Engineers pushed development as far as possible, creating efficiency through electronics and combustion refinements, but cleaner four-strokes were rapidly catching up. The NSR stood at the crest of that wave, both triumphant and doomed by its own perfection. Collectors and restorers today face that same duality. The NSR250R 1992 remains a mechanical marvel but requires care akin to vintage race machinery. Parts availability has dwindled, and expertise in two-stroke tuning has become specialized knowledge. Yet, those who preserve them do so out of reverence, not convenience. They understand that such craftsmanship will never return in the same form. The tactile feedback, the sound, the smell of burned oil, all belong to a vanished age of mechanical intimacy. The Honda NSR250R 1992 may have reached its technical peak, but the world around it was changing faster than even Honda could predict. Environmental concerns, shifting markets, and the rise of electronic management systems began reshaping the motorcycle industry. The NSR's two-stroke heart, once celebrated for its lightweight power and simplicity, was now seen as a challenge to new emission standards. Honda's engineers, who had poured their expertise into extracting every ounce of efficiency from the NSR250R 1992, faced the reality that innovation alone could not keep the two-stroke alive. The masterpiece that symbolized progress suddenly became a monument to an ending era. In its final production years, the NSR250R 1992 stood proudly against a tide it could not stop. Four-stroke sport bikes were becoming cleaner, more reliable, and increasingly powerful. Riders who once idolized the screaming two-stroke thrill began favoring bikes that offered similar performance without the demanding maintenance or smoky exhaust. The NSR, with its need for precise tuning and frequent care, became both a passion and a commitment. For purists, that commitment was part of its charm. For the broader market, it was a deal-breaker. What made the NSR250R 1992 unforgettable, however, was how gracefully it accepted its fate. Rather than fade quietly, it left an indelible mark on motorcycle culture. Owners knew they were riding something extraordinary, an instrument that demanded skill and rewarded perfection. Every ride carried a sense of occasion, as if participating in a ritual of precision. That intimacy turned the NSR into more than just a machine. It became a shared symbol among riders who valued connection over convenience. Even as regulations tightened, the influence of the NSR250R 1992 spread across generations of engineers. Its power management systems inspired the early mapping strategies of modern electronic fuel injection. Its chassis geometry became a reference point for mid-displacement sport bikes well into the 2000s. The relationship between weight, balance, and control that defined the NSR served as a blueprint for a new kind of performance philosophy. One where harmony mattered more than horsepower. Collectors who seek out the NSR250R 1992 today often describe it as a machine that feels alive. The startup ritual, the smell of premix, the sound of the engine clearing its throat, all combine to transport the rider to another time. Every motion feels deliberate. Every input has consequence. In an era where riding can feel filtered through software, the NSR's analog purity delivers an honesty few modern machines can match. That sense of engagement has turned surviving examples into prized artifacts, commanding admiration far beyond their modest displacement. Honda's decision to end production of the NSR250R line was not taken lightly. The company had built its reputation on technical excellence, and the NSR represented that philosophy distilled to its essence. But the late 1990s brought change that even Honda could not engineer around. Two-strokes became unsustainable under global environmental pressures, and production quietly ceased. No grand farewell, no successor in name, just a silence that underscored how special the NSR had been. In retrospect, that quiet exit feels poetic, a fitting close to a machine defined by precision rather than spectacle. What remains today is legacy. The NSR250R 1992 symbolizes the culmination of a design principle that placed human skill at the center of performance. It represents a time when engineers and riders shared the same goal: to make the connection between mind, body, and machine as seamless as possible. In many ways, it was the last motorcycle built with that singular philosophy before electronics began to mediate the experience. Every modern sport bike, with its sensors and algorithms, owes part of its DNA to lessons the NSR perfected without a single microchip managing traction or throttle. Enthusiast communities keep that legacy alive. Forums, clubs, and restoration projects celebrate the NSR250R 1992 not as a relic, but as a living piece of art. Restorers meticulously rebuild engines, polish frames, and source rare parts with reverence. They see themselves not as owners but as caretakers, preserving the spirit of two-stroke excellence for future generations. For many, hearing an NSR run for the first time after years of silence is more than nostalgia. It's a reminder of what mechanical purity feels like. Even in modern motorcycle design, traces of the NSR250R 1992 linger subtly. Lightweight construction, precise throttle response, and the pursuit of rider feedback remain guiding principles for engineers worldwide. The NSR's ability to make a small engine feel monumental influenced how manufacturers approached middleweight sport bikes. It proved that true performance is not measured by cubic centimeters, but by the quality of connection between rider and machine. The NSR250R 1992 also reshaped how people perceived engineering beauty. It wasn't flamboyant. It didn't rely on brute power or marketing hype. Its appeal came from refinement, how everything fit together with purpose. That design philosophy transcended motorcycles and reflected Honda's broader approach to innovation. Solve problems elegantly, let function create form, and never lose sight of the rider's experience. The NSR was that vision made tangible, a perfect fusion of logic and passion. As time passes, fewer examples of the NSR250R 1992 remain in pristine condition. Many were raced, modified, or lost to age. Those that survive have become cultural artifacts representing an entire generation of mechanical creativity. They stand as proof that engineering artistry can evoke emotion, that machines can carry soul. Each preserved NSR tells a story, not just of speed, but of craftsmanship, devotion, and the pursuit of perfection within limits. For anyone fortunate enough to experience one today, the NSR250R 1992 delivers sensations that no modern bike can replicate. The instantaneous surge of power, the rhythmic pulse through the frame, the way it seems to anticipate movement, all combine into an experience that transcends specification sheets. It invites riders to participate rather than observe, to engage rather than rely. In that sense, the NSR remains relevant, perhaps even more so in a world increasingly defined by automation. Looking back, the NSR250R 1992 stands not only as the pinnacle of two-stroke technology, but as a reminder of what happens when innovation and artistry align perfectly. It was a product of its time, but its influence echoes far beyond its production years. To study it is to understand an era when limits inspired genius, when engineers dared to chase perfection even as the rules closed in around them. That defiance, that dedication, is what keeps the NSR's legacy alive decades later. Its story endures because it represents more than machinery. It embodies a philosophy of engagement, of mechanical purity, and of the joy found in mastering something truly demanding. The NSR250R 1992 was not built to last forever. It was built to be extraordinary for as long as it could exist. And in doing so, it achieved what few machines ever do. It became immortal in the memories of those who understood what it meant to ride it. The Honda NSR250R 1992 closes its story as one of the purest expressions of performance ever built. A motorcycle that distilled Honda's racing spirit into a form that could live on public roads. It wasn't a product of excess or marketing. It was the result of engineers striving for mechanical perfection within the narrow limits of regulation. The NSR250R 1992 captured the balance between power and finesse, between art and discipline, and that balance remains its most enduring gift. Its legacy continues in the way it shaped rider expectations. Those who experienced it firsthand discovered that true performance is not about sheer power but about control, precision, and response. The NSR250R 1992 taught a generation of riders to value the connection between human skill and machine feedback. That lesson echoes in modern sport bikes that chase the same engagement through technology, though none have quite replicated the analog purity of that two-stroke masterpiece. In the collector world, the NSR250R 1992 represents more than nostalgia. It is a symbol of technical audacity. Each surviving bike is a time capsule from an era when innovation flourished in the pursuit of speed, and when small displacement did not mean small ambition. Every curve of its frame, every pulse of its engine, tells a story of Honda's dedication to performance as an art form. Restorers who keep them alive aren't just preserving motorcycles. They're maintaining a living archive of human ingenuity. The NSR250R 1992's impact also reminds us of the fleeting nature of technological peaks. It appeared at the end of a cycle, when the two-stroke was at its most refined yet already doomed by regulation. Its brilliance was both its triumph and its farewell. Yet that impermanence gives it power. Like a final note held in perfect tune, it represents how beauty often shines brightest in its final moments. Ultimately, the NSR250R 1992 remains a benchmark for what motorcycles can be when built with passion rather than compromise. It's a reminder that engineering excellence is not just about efficiency but about emotion. The way a machine can speak to a rider's senses and elevate ordinary motion into something transcendent. Long after the last two-stroke has fallen silent, the legend of the NSR will continue to whisper in every corner, every shift, and every throttle twist that seeks to recapture its spirit. That is the legacy of the Honda NSR250R 1992. The final, flawless heartbeat of an era that will never come again.